Hey guys, welcome to the Heart of David. A later video in the day. This is when I'm not doing so well, but I'm not doing that bad either, but this is just a general video of a whole lot of topics, interesting topics, I think. I just wanted to say, after all that the thing that happened with me about 2.5 weeks ago, I don't want to say a lot on here, but they won't press charges, and the person actually said it was the other way around. That left me not feeling very well today, and that's not what happened. So what do I expect? I don't know what I do with that. I think I'll just leave it there. That made me quite angry, though. Like for about 5 days after that, I had shallow breathing, psychological, because I couldn't get that stuff off my mind. All I saw was my adrenaline like totally pumped, and I don't know. When a woman is assaulted, like a domestic violence, they go and they arrest, right? But because I don't have camera view of this happening, how is this any different? That's the way I'm looking at it. I talk to their superior, and I get it. Some officers will decide to do that, but can you imagine going to the guy's house and the guy says, "No, he was the aggressor." That's what happened. So there's a bunch of things. By the way, thank you. My last video, I don't know, JK, I don't know if you're watching my videos from my other channel. If you are, God bless you, man. You said you don't feel so alone. Yeah, I go through all that stuff all the time. It never stops, ever. I'm going to jump from topic to topic. I'm cleaning my apartment out. I've lived here for 6 years. I had quite a lot of stuff, I don't know, it's like 700 square feet, maybe 750. Some big closet space, and there's just so much stuff in there from this is biblical, all the different things that I do with my hands, like all the candles. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of boxes, a lot of stuff. And I have all different types of interests too, so there was so much stuff. They say that trauma, you tend not to throw things out, right? Is that you? Because I felt convicted. I heard it quite a few times over the last year, and I'm like, every time I see it, you can tell sometimes by someone's house that they keep their junk around. And so when I heard that each time, when I hear it, I look around my home and I say, wow, But in my case, I really do need a lot of stuff surrounding things from my small business, and just a lot of things that I work with my hands. So what is it? Cleanliness is next to godliness. And I don't remember where that is exactly. Let's look. But you know what, guys? It's true. And it feels good to clean everything out. So cleanliness, it's going to come up. There it is. But is that in the Bible? I don't know. I don't think so, is it? I didn't think so, but let's look at God questions. Among the unclean things that God's people were to avoid are dead bodies. That's not for us, okay? I just finished Deuteronomy too. Certain animals, leprosy, bodily discharges, but you get the point, right? Yeah, outward cleanliness has no connection to godliness, but it's just a saying that it's just, I'm not even going to go further about that. You understand, right? But what is proven is that trauma, people do tend to build up stuff and not clean up. So I'm very dehydrated. Pardon me, I'm going to take a sip and I'm going to get into some subjects here. I had a lot of shipping boxes, I've shipped enough, but I mean, the business that I do is hard. I'm not the best at that, like always marketing. It's just not me. But anyways, for a time it was. I remember I started my business before COVID, and I'll take my video off, right? And it was going really well, and then people started losing money and stuff like that. And they're not cheap either. What was I going to get at? I'm going to eventually get to Deuteronomy. I think it's Deuteronomy 28. I wanted to read this. I've read it before. I think there's also one in Exodus and maybe in Leviticus too. What happens to the Jews if they keep the Lord's instructions or they don't? It's bad. What did I want to speak about? In my last videos, guys, I've been expressing to you the absolute truth, which is, who was the Bible written for? There is the kingdom gospel, and then there is Paul's gospel. And people are fast to speak, right? Before this video, before I even continue to speak, people are already going to be trigger happy, writing in the comment section something before they hear it. I only learned this, what was this, like a month ago maybe? People study, and I read on this, you can study for 20, 30 years. People still don't understand this simplicity. There's two gospels that were going around at the same time. I'm going to just say this briefly because I've already talked about this. Guys, if you have to learn this, the gospels, repentance, baptism, that was Jesus and the apostles for the Jews. Do you know that? And I can prove it in a second. And then when Paul came, he got a revelation, on the road in Arabia and all that type of stuff. That's for us Gentiles. There is two different gospels. Do you know that up to 51 AD, so 20 years after Jesus died, for 20 years, John, Peter, Thomas, all those guys were only preaching and saving Jews. Do you know that? Go back and read Acts. Go back and read the whole Bible. And I can prove it. So you go to Barnabas and Paul had no small dissension, right? Because others in the group, the Pharisee believers in Christ, were saying that you had to be circumcised. They were believers, but they believed you have to be circumcised. And it was something that got so much, was screwing up Paul's teaching so much. And I can't blame them either. You can't blame the Pharisees for saying that, because they had that way for so long, right? That Paul had to go to the Council of Jerusalem with Barnabas, and they had the Council of Jerusalem in 51 AD. Okay, what was it about? It was about that. What do Gentiles have to do? And that's where two gospels had been going around, two different gospels, one for the Jews and one for the Gentiles, for quite a long period of time. Peter stood up and said, Paul's right. Not long ago, he said, the blanket came down from heaven, that vision? And he said, all the animals and stuff, and God says, what I say is clean is clean. And what he meant was Cornelius. He means the Gentiles. But that was only, and that could have been 10 years before or something like that. So there you go. There were two different gospels. So Peter said, yes. From that point, Paul's gospel superseded and it became one. You are saved by faith, not of works, lest any man should boast. So there I say, you have to learn both of those gospels. It's very important. And all the covenants were not fulfilled because they killed Jesus. So when Jesus comes back, all that stuff is going to come back. That's the way people are going to be saved, the Jews. It'll go back to that old gospel. That's why I say to you, who is Revelation written for? And when you look in the book of Revelation to the churches, it doesn't talk to Gentiles because it says works endure. It's not by faith. So that's how you know it's not us in Revelation. That brings me to my next thing. I watch a lot of different Christian channels. I don't care if they believe in the pre-trib rapture, okay? I listen for the news and stuff. So Watchman River, I don't mind him. I think he's a nice guy. He's a brother in Christ. I just heard that the Jews might accept a peace agreement. And I want to say this. When they say peace and safety, sudden destruction comes on them like labor pains, like a woman in travail, right? But the question is, does it have to be Israel's war? Could it be Ukraine or could it be anywhere else in the world? We don't know. We don't know, right? But the question is, my own interpretation is this. You would think everything surrounds Israel. But I wouldn't take that position. I would just say be careful about it. I'm going to take another sip. Give me a second. Very interesting, eh? Guys, I mean, like, it's going to come like a thief in the night. That's what it says. Have your lamps lit. Don't be one of those virgins who didn't have their lamps lit. I'm going to tell you something I saw on a video. You subscribe to some Christians' YouTube channels, and then you hear something that's just really offensive, and then I unsubscribe if I don't like the message. And he was saying that the King James version of we are saved by faith. He's saying that the King James version doesn't say alone. We are saved by faith alone, by, alone. He's right. It doesn't say that in the KJV. But he was going on to say that, obviously his next step was works. People are caught up in the word alone, but not looking at it for what it is. We are saved by faith, not of works, lest any man should boast. So if we're saved by faith by itself, don't use that word alone, wouldn't that make it alone? This is the thing you take heat when you make a video and you say, there's no works. People will say, but that's works, right? And they're right. You can't. There is no but if you have faith. And as I was reading, remember I showed you a verse that said, was it Corinthians? I don't know, where it says, you are carnal and babes in Christ, meaning he's speaking to believers who are saved, but they're yet still carnal. That means they're still sinning, but they're saved. Who am I to judge your heart? I have to leave that up to God. There's a lot of videos of people, that was me. This is a journey of saying, you know, this is what they'll look like. You could be sick like me and maybe not have any works. You just have that faith in God. Maybe you can't do works. Maybe you're just a beginner believer, right? You're just a beginner believer, and you're just still going along like me. I'm not ashamed to say so. Masturbating still, okay? That wasn't doing me any psychological good. It was actually, I'm telling you, like, I'm not telling you what to do, but for me, that was like the last thing. Pardon me. Because I realized, you know, like, I have autism and I have what I believe to be bipolar disorder. I was diagnosed with, I know it's bipolar disorder, I'll just say it on here, I don't care, what do I have to hide? I had issues growing up, as many of us do. You know, addictions to that type of stuff. A lot of people, how are you going to avoid it these days? On the internet and all that type of stuff, I never do that. I never do that, and I don't masturbate anymore, and I feel much better for it. You know why? This is my belief. When you're doing that stuff, how many of you have clean thoughts when you're doing that? Would God call that sexual immorality? Maybe. So in my life, I chose not to do it anymore, and I got better. You can see a ton of videos about this. You gain your confidence, you know, like, stop putting your, you know, like, that woman is so hot. So what? It's just, you know, like their breast or their butt. It's just skin. Skin and flesh, fat, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I could elaborate a lot on that, but I just, maybe for another video. Having sexual issues, internet porn, all that, that's gone up so much, guys, because of the internet. The internet is an evil thing. I think it is. It's an evil tool. It's used for evil a lot. And speaking of that, I wanted to speak on this. Isn't it funny? And I was watching the, you know, like Mark Zuckerberg being, I don't know, like having to go to hearings. So they're forced to go to hearings. They have to do that. And there's a lot of problems. People are trying to sue and all that type of stuff. And they're in the hearing with, you know, like all the senators, like, you know, whatever, Josh Hawley, Ted Cruz, boy, and it's going to be in a video I'm editing. I haven't done the video yet. You should see the point that he gets at. Mark Zuckerberg had to turn around and apologize to all the parents of their dead kids. You got to see this. Maybe you have seen this hearing, but it's a hearing of all of them. TikTok, all of them. The bottom line that I'm getting to about this is the algorithm. Do you notice, like, you're on YouTube, you're on whatever, and something pops up? This is all about advertising, and it's harlotry. It's evil. They know it. They were grilling Mark Zuckerberg because on Instagram you could look at child porn, like kids being abused. And there was buttons where you could access and go in. He had no answer for that. I think you know what I mean. The algorithm, they know deeply. They sell your information. I hate this world, guys. This world, being in the world. You know, like you're just doing fine. You're on your computer, and all of a sudden you see an ad. You're like, how did that even get like that? You know, like you're on Bible Gateway and all of a sudden there's a half-naked woman, or worse. I've seen worse, man. I remember a guy saying that there was a gun, they were advertising guns right beside Bible Gateway. Bible Gateway sold out, by the way. Just in case you didn't know. They have an ad on the side, on the bottom, and the other side. They should know better than that. And I did email them and tell them, and they got back to me, and then they just stopped talking to me. Yeah. I'm just going to finish with this. Sorry, guys. I was like moving a lot of stuff around, so. Created a lot of room, though. This is the last thing I want to say. And you know what? I do hope that, and I think no matter how many viewers I have, if it's 10 and there people are actually listening, then that's good. That's worth it. And yeah, if you saw that last video of all the pains that I go through, I do hope that that gives you hope and confidence that you can do the same. And I mean, that you can go around your life and still try to live. With the things that I suffer with, if I didn't have faith in God, I wouldn't, but you know what I'm going to say. I go through a lot of hard times. In my last, you might call them teachings, but I'm really reading the stuff that I'm learning of the truth, the different gospels and Revelation. I know that I'm getting to the truth. I believe Revelation was written for the Jews. But I want to make this very clear. So you say, well, what's the Bible even for then? You know, there's so many misused terms, like no weapon against thee shall prosper, right? What's the context of that? Isaiah's talking about the Jews, about that if they follow God then properly, then they will be okay. And I'm going to read Deuteronomy to you. These are to the Jews, guys. The good news is that some of it is for the Gentiles. All Paul's gospel is. I said the Ten Commandments, they were the covenant of, they were the Mosaic covenant, and those were given to the Jews. The core of that covenant, the core, was the Ten Commandments. Think about that, and in that is the Sabbath. That wasn't given to us. I read the proof. It says for the Jews. But those still apply. The law of God applies. And yes, of course, I follow them as best I can. This is what I want to say. I do believe the Bible is for us, but you still have to learn the difference. It really is for us. Of course, God wanted us to read it. But all I'm saying is you have to learn what is for who. If it says it's for the Jews, you believe it's for the Jews, right? If it says so. I'm going to eat while I do this because I'm going to, trying to make it for a walk with somebody, so I have to go quick. I don't like forcing my food. This is blessings on this is long. Blessings on obedience, curses on obedience. So I just finished Deuteronomy. Dude. If you don't understand what I'm saying about two gospels, there's three things I want you to learn that will turn your Bible journey upside down, but in the right direction. I'm going to put it in this description box. Three things. Two things. You have to learn covenant theology and the new covenant, okay? This will turn your world upside down biblically. After that, learn the covenants and who they were for and what will happen with them. Very important. You and I are blessed through the Jews, but they killed Jesus. We were supposed to be, if they hadn't done that, our blessings would have been absolutely amazing and still will be. Blessings on obedience. Now it shall come to pass, if you diligently obey the voice of the Lord your God, to observe carefully. I have a lot of room in my apartment too, so I killed another fly today, by the way. I told you how to kill them. It works in literally seconds. Just close your blinds, turn off the lights. Go in your bathroom, leave that light on, walk in your bathroom, he'll go in there and shut it. That's worked 3 times for me. I don't know why I'm telling you, just in case you have flies in your home. Now if it comes to pass, if you diligently obey the voice of the Lord your God, to observe carefully all his commandments which I command you today, that the Lord your God will set you high above all the nations of the earth. And all these blessings shall come upon you and overtake you. How nice. Because you obey the voice of the Lord your God. Blessed shall you be in the city, and blessed shall you be in the country. Blessed shall be the fruit of your body, the produce of your ground. Remember, I'm saying this, the produce of your body. Remember that. And the ground, and the increase of your herds, cattle, offspring, and flocks. Blessed shall be your basket and your kneading bowl. Blessed shall you be when you come in and when you go out. The Lord will cause your enemies who rise against you to be defeated before your face. Hence, no weapon against you shall prosper, if they follow. They shall come out against you one way and flee before you 7 ways. The Lord will command the blessing on you in your storehouses, and all to which you set your hand. Make sure to read in the description box. Study it, please. And he will bless you in the land which the Lord your God is giving you. The Lord will establish you as a holy people to himself, just as he has sworn to you, if you keep the commandments of the Lord your God and walk in his ways. Then all the peoples of the earth shall see that you are called by the name of the Lord, and they shall be afraid of you. Everything you see right now with the Jews, with Israel, is because of this. I'm going to point it out. And the Lord will grant you plenty of goods in the fruit of your body, increase of your livestock, produce on your ground, in the land which the Lord swore to your fathers to give you. The Lord will open to you his good treasure, the heavens, to give you rain to your land in its season, to bless all the work of your hand. You shall lend to many nations, but you shall not borrow. And the Lord will make you the head and not the tail. You shall be above and not beneath, if you heed the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you today, and are careful to observe them. So you shall not turn aside from any of the words which I command you this day, to the right or to the left, to go after other gods to serve them. How could they, right? Just when I look at their history, like that many years of disobeying, it's just insane. You know, when you have prophets and people like that. But it shall come to pass, if you do not obey this is you got to listen to this. It's severe. It's past severe. If you do not obey the voice of the Lord your God, to observe carefully all his commandments, statutes, which I command you today, this is Moses speaking, that all these curses will come upon you and overtake you. From God's words, obviously. Cursed shall you be in the city, cursed shall you be in the country. Cursed shall be your basket and your kneading bowl. Cursed shall be the fruit of your body, cursed, the fruit of your body. Remember it said blessed? And the produce of your land, and the increase, it's still coming, and the increase of your cattle and the offspring of your flocks. You'll be like, what? Keep listening. Cursed shall you be when you come in and when you go out. The Lord will send on you cursing, confusion, rebuke, and all that you set your hand to do until you're destroyed, until you perish quickly, because of the wickedness of your doings in which you have forsaken me. So far, do you understand? It's good to be on God's side. The Lord will make, I believe, these types of things go for every single country, like the United States, like Canada, like Australia, New Zealand, Britain. Every one, I believe they're all like this. You can see by taking God out of schools what has happened. And the more evil they become, the more evil it gets. The Lord will make the plague cling to you until he has consumed you from the land which you're going to possess. The Lord will strike you with consumption, fever, inflammation, severe burning fever, with the sword, with scorching, with mildew. They shall pursue you until you perish. And your heavens which are over your head shall be bronze, and the earth which is under you shall be iron. Wow, man. The Lord will change the rain of your land to powder and dust. From the heaven it shall come down on you until you're destroyed. Are you done? The Lord will cause you to be defeated before your enemies. You shall go out one way and flee 7 ways before them. And you shall become troublesome to all the kingdoms of the earth. Are you getting what I just said there? Hitler, they were scapegoats. This has gone out throughout history, but look at it now. You shall become troublesome to all the kingdoms of the earth. Your carcasses shall be food for all the birds of the air and the beasts of the earth, and no one shall frighten them away. The Lord will strike you with boils of Egypt, tumors with the scab, and with the itch from which you cannot be healed. The Lord will strike you with madness and blindness and confusion of heart, and you shall grope at noonday, as a blind man gropes in darkness. You shall not prosper in your ways. You shall only be oppressed and plundered continually, and no one shall save you. You shall betroth a wife, but another man shall lie with her. You shall build a home, but you shall not dwell in it. You shall plant a vineyard, but not gather its grapes. Your ox shall be slaughtered before your eyes, but you shall not eat of it. Your donkey shall be violently taken away from you, and shall not be restored to you. Your sheep will be given to your enemies. And you shall have no one to rescue them. Your sons and daughters shall be given to another people, and your eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all day long. There shall be no strength in your hand. A nation whom you have not known shall eat the fruit of your land and produce of your labor. And you shall be only oppressed and crushed continually. So you shall be driven mad because of the sight which you see. The Lord will strike you in the knees and on the legs with severe boils, which can't be healed, and from the sole of your foot to the top of your head. The Lord will bring you and the king set over you to a nation which neither you nor your fathers have known. Did that happen? Yes. And there you shall serve other gods, as they deserved, right? Because they had God, but they chose to serve wood and stone. And you shall become an astonishment, a proverb, a byword among all the nations where the Lord drives you. This is what happened. This is why there were 2,000 years until 1948. They're back. People will say it's not that, but they're back. Just give me a second. I'm at verse 38 now, and it goes to like 48. This is important. You shall carry much seed out of the field to the field, but gather little. From the locust shall consume it. You shall plant vineyards and tend them, but you shall neither drink of wine nor gather the grapes. for the worms shall eat them. You shall have olive trees through all your territory, but you shall not anoint yourself with the oil. For your olives shall drop off. Listen to this. You shall beget sons and daughters, but they shall not be yours. They will go into captivity. Okay, wait, that's not it. It's coming. Locusts shall consume all your trees and the produce of your land. The alien who is among you shall rise higher and higher above you. Isn't that happening here? North America and many Western nations. And you shall come down lower and lower. He shall lend to you, but you shall not lend to him. He shall be the head and you the tail. There's something really bad coming up. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon you and pursue and overtake you until you're destroyed, because you did not obey the voice of the Lord your God to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded you. And they shall be upon you for a sign and a wonder on your descendants forever. That's a questionable thing, isn't it? But it's not forever. It isn't. I would have to look that up because, obviously Zechariah, Isaiah, Jeremiah, it's not forever. Because you didn't serve the Lord your God with joy and gladness of heart for the abundance of everything, be glad in it, right? Therefore you shall serve your enemies, whom the Lord will send against you, in hunger, thirst, nakedness, and need of everything, and he will put a yoke of iron on your neck until he has destroyed you. The Lord will bring a nation against you from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as eagle flies. That sounds like Nebuchadnezzar. A nation whose language you will not understand, and that was, right? Because this is before that. With fierce countenance, which does not respect the elderly, nor show favor to the young. And they shall eat the increase of your livestock and the produce of your land until you are destroyed. They shall not leave you grain, nor new wine or oil, or the increase of your cattle, or of your offspring of your flocks, until they have destroyed you. Give me a sec here, guys. It's very tough to speak. I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to come back and explain this. They shall besiege you at all your gates until your high and fortified walls in which you trust come down throughout all your land, and they'll besiege you at all your gates through all your land which the Lord has given you. You shall eat of the fruit of your... Listen to this. Remember I told you to hold on to that word at the beginning? Bless the fruit of your body. Listen to this. I got a comment about a week ago or so saying you are heading towards truth. You should read the Roman Jewish wars, and I have. So, well, no, I read the I've read the 66 to 70. So I read the first Jewish revolt, and then now I'm on the second one, about 3/4 of the way through. They're long. And this has been fulfilled, of which I'm going to tell you. You shall eat the fruit of your own body, the flesh of your sons and your daughters. Like, what? This is what happens in sieges. whom the Lord your God has given you in the siege and desperate straits, in which your enemy shall distress you. What are you going to do when there's no food? The sense, oh yikes. I'm getting like, anyways, the sensitive and very refined man among you will be hostile toward his brother, toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the rest of his children, whom he leaves behind, so that he will not give any of them the flesh of his children, whom he will eat, because he has nothing left in the siege and desperate straits in which your enemy shall distress you. This is insane. It's insane to stress you at your gates. The tender and delicate woman among you, who would not venture to set the sole of her foot on the ground because of her delicateness, which I think is a treasure, and sensitivity, that's a real woman to me, will refuse to the husband of her bosom, and to her son and to her daughter, her placenta, which comes out between her feet, and her children whom she bears, for she will eat them secretly, for lack of everything in the siege and desperate straits in which your enemy shall distress you at your gates. That's what happened in, what was it, 131 or 132 AD. I just read it. That was fulfilled. This is longer than If you don't carefully observe all the words of this law that are written in this book, that ye may fear the glorious and awesome name of the Lord your God, then the Lord will bring upon you and your descendants extraordinary plagues, great and prolonged plagues. This is why I'm saying what was written for the Jews, what was written for us. It's different. Excuse me. And serious and prolonged sicknesses. Moreover, he will bring back on you all the diseases of Egypt of which you were afraid, and they shall cling to you. Also every sickness, plague, which is not written in this book of the law, like today, all the diseases, that's another thing, will the Lord bring upon you until you're destroyed. You shall be left few in number, whereas you were as the stars of heaven in multitude, because you wouldn't obey the voice of the Lord your God. Do you know how many people died in the revolt? It was like 1 million or 2 million. It could be more than that in 132. And the first revolt, it was over 1 million. That's a lot of people, man. They were left with almost no people. Economy was crushed. And it shall be that just as the Lord rejoiced over you to do good and multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you and bring you to nothing, and you shall be plucked from off the land which you go to possess. This is the last 2 paragraphs. I'm going to say something. Then the Lord will scatter you among all peoples from one end of the earth to the other, and there you shall serve other gods, lower G, which neither you and your fathers have known, wood and stone. Don't you think God has given them enough time? Like you read like Judges and Kings, and all throughout Exodus, and right from the beginning. Well, from the time that they were the Exodus. And among all those nations you shall find no rest, nor shall the sole of your foot have a resting place. But the Lord will give you a trembling heart, failing eyes, and anguish of soul. Your life shall hang in doubt before you. You shall fear day and night. Guys, I'm not done. And have no assurance of life. In the morning you shall say, oh, that it were evening, and at evening that it were morning, because of the fear which terrifies your heart, and because of the sight which your eyes see. Last verse, 68. 68. And the Lord will take you back to Egypt in ships by the way of which I said to you, you shall never see it again. And there you shall be offered for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, but no one will buy you. Whoa. By the way, it goes on, I don't know if it's 29 or 30, but it says, when you're in those lands, if you do this, I will bring you back, just to let you know. It's, listen. I think what he's doing is fair. I went through Deuteronomy. I don't see anything that's unfair. this is another reason why I think the Bible is meant for everybody, to learn what the character of God is. Do you ever come to that conclusion in your mind, like, he's really good, he's good? Sorry, I'm like, I get heart palpitations, what's it called? Not SVT, but it's the ones that cause really, makes you feel like you're having an adrenaline rush. I get those. They do cause like a panic feeling, but just very quickly. That's why you see me go like that. I don't know. I'm not going to stop the camera just because I get them, but give me a sec, and I'm going to finish up. And then I'll finish up. I do wish I got more viewers. I don't know if I could handle a lot of viewers, but the more the better if they see it, right? I have no idea how. I'll give you an example, like Jesse Duplantis or Kenneth Copeland, Joel Osteen. How are these people so fooled? Remember what Jesus said, you know, like, those who know the truth, right? You'll hear it, you'll understand it. To be honest, I think, and here's another evil thing about the internet, about social media, about all that stuff. I believe that I probably have been somewhat shadow banned. Like, people have control over it. I'm not saying I deserve to be like in the thousands. That's not what I'm saying. But you notice it just doesn't move at all. It is controlled. And I think Christian YouTubers are especially controlled. So I've had warnings, stupid warnings. It's no different, like, you know, like, say you're selling an auto on Facebook, right, in Marketplace. If you throw a few bucks at it, it's like they unlock a door and all of a sudden all these buyers come in. I find that to be evil. Just let everybody see it. That's why I don't like all this marketing and doing stuff like this. I think it's all a scam. Sure, it works for people, depending what, but it can be very difficult. For Gentiles, there's a lot of lessons we learn in there, a lot of truths. And I do think it's very important that you find out, I'm going to leave it in the description box, what is for the Jews, what is for the Gentiles. There's a reason Paul was commissioned to be the apostle to the Gentiles. The apostles weren't even speaking to the Gentiles for 20 years. That's my point. What else did I want to say? I am an honest person. And, I say like I have bipolar disorder or autism and stuff like that. Maybe because of autism, I'm brutally honest. But I value honesty above everything, except for God, right? But God is honesty. I do have bipolar disorder, and I go through hell with it. I just don't tell you about it. I have a lot of forced thoughts. They're just like thoughts that they come very quickly, very quickly. I have them under control, though, and by faith in God, I'm telling you, it helped. Because guys. I try my best. God bless. Thanks for watching. This would be the truest thing of my I call this a ministry. That I hope that people who are hurting, that's like I've come to the conclusion that's why I'm on earth. That's why I think. That's why I'm here. That's why God put me here. There's hope. There is. You just have to live it every day. You have to read the Bible every single day, because the further you get away from it, the more you get into the world. God bless, guys.